My name is Chelsea. My son's name is Jessie, Jessie Plate. I work at Wake Med Health and Hospitals as a nurse tech on the surgery and trauma center. And I also go to school full time. His story is kind of different for the fact is I was going through nursing school at the time when he was about 4 months old. When we noticed he had the eye deviation, so learning that it's actually normal part of development to have sometimes the wandering eyes, what they call it. And didn't really figure out anything until about 2011, October 2011. I'm actually divorced. Me and his dad divorced not too long ago, but we separated, and Jesse was staying with his grandparents, my ex-husband's parents, and didn't know anything, and all of a sudden he was in the hospital. Either he had a seizure or he was paralyzed at the time, and he was there for five days. And after that, it was about 3 weeks of him being completely paralyzed on the left side, and he was left-handed for sure. And it he kind of went downhill. He unfortunately has a G tube because he just stopped eating, and he has more seizures. Unfortunately, they're not diagnosed at this moment because every time he has a seizure, doesn't have the EEG on, so it's kind of sad to see that. But he keeps going back and forth, and it was finally last year, March of 2013, that we went to the University of Colorado, or Children's Hospital, and they did a genetics test, and they found that he has the gene that causes alternating hemiplegia childhood. After that, I decided to move out here to be closer to Dr. McCarty, who was the headliner pretty much of getting the disease kind of under control in the research and seeing what they can do to figure out everything. So, I mean, he's been in and out of the hospital so much because of this disease, because we didn't know what it was. And now we finally know what it is, and it's a breath of fresh air, but at the same time, it's hard to see him grow up, and hard to see him sometimes not able to do things, and yeah, it's really frustrating. And sometimes I cry because he wants to stand or walk, and he's just there, and he just falls, and it's pretty hard. He's on a lot of medication. He's on only anti-epileptic medications. He hasn't been on the other meds. He's on the flunarizine that Dr. McCarty has kind of doing that trial for the children. But he's on 3 different epileptic medications, and he used to be on 5, so we got him down to 2, but he was on a lot of those. So he takes gabapentin 3 times a day. He takes Topamax twice a day, and he takes Onfi, which is it's a benzo type drug. So he takes those twice a day. And then he also takes the melatonin at night to help him sleep, and he takes the flunarizine as well. So, I've not noticed any triggers, unfortunately. Sometimes if he gets overwhelmed, but not all the time does he get overwhelmed. We just got a wish granted last week, and we were at Disney World, and he actually did really well. I thought he was going to have multiple attacks, and I think he had maybe 1 or 2. And they weren't even his big ones. They were little stiffening of maybe the right or left arm. But, I mean, I've seen some of his really bad attacks, and they're heart-wrenching. They look like grand mal seizures, but he's screaming bloody murder. And, I mean, his back is like a normal person's like this, and his back can go, one side can just go like that. And his foot can be completely inverted. It's just, I mean, it's blindly to say it's like exorcist type things he can do with his body when he has a full-fledged attack. And it's painful for him. You can see it. He's screaming and he's crying. And all you want to do is hold him. And you can't because, he's tall. And he's 39 pounds, but he's really tall and you can't hold him to calm him down. You can't because you're getting hurt in the process because they're so strong. I mean, you're looking at a 4.5-year-old little guy who's able to almost break bones or punch and hurt, not purposely, when he's in an attack. So when even the small attacks and just the behavior, it's hard to see him go through that. You can see he's there. You can see he's there in his brain. He just can't connect everything. And you can see the frustration. He tries to talk. He tries to walk. He tries to do... He's been eating better, so that's good. But anything that he used to be able to do, he still can't. And that's been 2 years. And that's really, really hard. And I don't know, just seeing him go through it is just... No parent wants to see that. I mean, I cry sometimes. I just want to cry and just hold him and cry. They're not consistent. I can't say that every time he has have a lot of people around, he'll have an attack. Or can't say that me sitting there playing a video game or watching TV will put him in an attack. Or him getting in trouble and being disciplined gets him in an attack. Because no, not all the time does it happen. It really does vary when he goes in attacks and everything. And I can't say it always happens at the same way each time. It's just he'll go pretty much when his body wants to go into attack. We're trying to get him into school. Unfortunately, we're having issues getting him into school, and I'm trying to we moved from Colorado to here and getting his IEP, which is, what they do for special education children and people who need therapy, children who need therapy. And I'm trying to find his IEP or trying to get the information from his old IEP to come here. And it's been kind of just a seesaw. And like I said, we go into full-time school, work full-time. I'm trying to balance everything and get him to school. So I'm looking forward to, once I'm done with my semester, I'm going to be focused on getting him into school, hopefully by January is what I'm hoping. That way he needs it. He loves kids. And he plays really well. So. I don't know about the CBT with Jessie's disease. I know it works very well with children with epilepsy. And I would, if it will help him or we can try to see if it helps, I'm for it. Whatever I can do to help my child, I'm totally for. And I'm not at all against that. I think it's wonderful that they're finding cures in that for epilepsy in children with, not even epilepsy, seizures at times. So I'm hoping that maybe that will also work with their disease. When you have a child who you just can't figure out what they have, or in general, if you have a child that you just don't know what's going on, don't be afraid to go to the doctors, even if it's something small, because it could be something bigger. And the eye deviation, if I knew it was not normal for him, I could have known at not a year, but about a year instead of 2, almost 3. We found out that he had this disease a year ago, and I wish I knew more, and I wish I was more educated on what other aspects, and I wish that I went to see the doctors more to see what was going on, because I thought I was raising a healthy child with just some developmental delays, and he just went downhill from there. And I don't want anybody to go through that. I learned the hard way, and at times I regret, and I feel like I'm a bad parent for that. And I know I'm not, but you just get that regret that you could have maybe helped him develop better than where he's at now. So and always just keep an open mind on everything. It could be anything. And thank goodness for Dr. McCarty, because he's wonderful, and I'm glad he's there, who actually wants to help the children and wants to help figure out to cure this. Once we want to cure AHC is what we want to do. So. Having the doctors and researchers who are willing to do this and not having the funding is just, it's extremely hard. I wish I could put every dime in, but every dime, unfortunately, has to go to food on the table and the roof over my son's head. And the more people help, the more they can see a change. And AHC is becoming really more diagnosed, unfortunately, because a lot of children with epilepsy actually have AHC, and they need to understand that epilepsy and AHC are pretty big, and AHC can kill people, unfortunately, with certain sicknesses like polio and the enterovirus, who unfortunately, bless her soul, who took the child of an AHC patient, I believe in Michigan, not too long ago, because that was a paralysis type of virus, and it just increased hers and passed away from that. And any seizure can kill a child, or anybody actually, for that matter. And you don't want anybody to die from anything. And unfortunately, you can die from it. It's not really heard of as much, but you could. And anything to help our children, because unfortunately, what if your grandchildren have it? What if your best friend's child has it? I would do anything if I could help any more than what I am now.